Panthers, they play Washington, and New England takes on Buffalo. Which squad is more likely to lose its first game, or will it be neither? That's the Twitter question of the day, so send your vote replying to the hashtag #FirstToLose. In Philly, the MRI on Sam Bradford confirmed he's suffering from a separated left shoulder, according to our Ed Werder. Bradford also is in the NFL concussion protocol. He could miss this week's game, so there's a very good chance Mark Sanchez could be under center for the Eagles against the Bucs. Here's his teammate Lane Johnson on Sanchez. Sanchez is more up-tempo than Bradford. Mark's probably a little bit more conscious of the tempo. He may go a little bit faster pace than what Sam is. So other than that, probably just the tempo, maybe a little bit faster. Stephen A., should they make Sanchez the quarterback for the remainder of the year?
I believe so. I believe the time has arrived for the Philadelphia Eagles to go in a different direction. They just lost to the Miami Dolphins after being up 16-0. They ended up losing 20-19. Sam Bradford may have gotten hurt in that game. The reality is that he's not the answer. Chip Kelly has to fess up and acknowledge that he made a mistake by selecting this man to be his quarterback. Too fragile, can't run with the football. He can pass the ball, but he isn't elite by any stretch of the imagination, although there have been a slew of individuals on the Philadelphia Eagles who have been dropping passes. It doesn't negate the fact that at the end of the day, Sam Bradford, who's thrown 10 interceptions this year, who's got a QBR of 37, who's got one of the 3 worst QBRs in all of football, doesn't appear to be the answer. Now, I will agree with Skip when you say that Mark Sanchez is the ultimate accident waiting to happen, as he proved with his end zone interception, even though I think it was Matthews. I don't remember specifically, but I think it was Matthews he was throwing the ball to. You just got to go for the ball harder than that. There's no question about that. But in the end, it was still an interception on Mark Sanchez. And like the Dallas Cowboys, bad things appear to happen to Mark Sanchez. So
it was Miles Austin.
It was Miles Austin. It was Miles Austin, exactly.
Right.
So for me, I just look at it from this perspective. Mark Sanchez is going to make a mistake that could potentially kill you, but he's good enough to make enough good things happen to offset that on most afternoons with the right talent around him. I think when you see what the Eagles are capable of doing defensively, combined with some of the requisite weapons they have on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's with Ertz or Zellick or Jordan Matthews or Aguilar or even Riley Cooper to a lesser degree, Josh Huff, I just think that when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles right now, Mark Sanchez could do some things for this team. He's completing 60% of his passes, 14-23 in the one game he played this year, which was last week. I get all of that, but I'm looking at this schedule. Tampa, Detroit, obviously they'll lose to New England. Buffalo, Arizona's going to be tough. Washington and the Giants. I think Mark Sanchez is good enough to win 3 to 4 of these games for you. I say go with him because you've got nothing to lose because Bradford's not going to be any better.
7 games. So you think he could win 3 of 7?
I think he could win. I think you could pencil him in for 3 of 7.
Okay.
He could potentially win 5 of 7.
Okay, so they're 4-5 right now, and if he wins 3, that gets him to 7 and 9.
If they win 5, they get to 9 and 7.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just saying with Sam
That's being a little
Bradford.
generous.
Yeah.
Yes.
5.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, let's look at it. Tampa, Detroit. I think both of those are winnable games. Yeah, but I think both of those are winnable games. I think Buffalo's a winnable game. I think Washington and the Giants are the winnable games. I look at New England. Obviously, that's going to be a tough one, and Arizona's going to be a tough one. But Arizona's at home.
Okay, I'm going to give you this. I am with you on one bottom line to this discussion. I do think that Mark Sanchez gives the Eagles a little better chance than Sam Bradford. I'm just not a fan. I never was. I watched him all through college. I didn't love him.
Got it.
And he's brittle, and he's going to get hurt. God bless him. I'm not wishing it on anybody, and I hope he's okay now. It doesn't sound terrible. He's got concussion plus a slight separation of the shoulder. I mean, it's still a long shot possibility he could even try to play this Sunday, but probably not. So back to Mark Sanchez. No quarterback I've ever watched in pro football can look better and worse than Mark Sanchez. And you don't know when it's coming because, listen, on Thanksgiving, as I remind you, last year, and we're almost up to Thanksgiving this time, Mark Sanchez blew my Cowboys off their home field on national TV. One of the great humiliations for me in Cowboy history because it was a wipeout. And do you remember our Friday show? You were all over me because my Cowboys, right on schedule, had stunk it up on the biggest, one of the biggest stages in the sport. That late game on Thanksgiving after everybody's eaten their Thanksgiving and they sit back and watched the Eagles carved the turkeys that were the Dallas Cowboys. And it was, listen, it tore me apart. It was hard to go in there and do that show with you on Friday. but I hung in because something told me Mark Sanchez is still your quarterback. So he started 8 games last year. He went 4-4, but right on schedule late in the year when it was time when your
3
Eagles,
or 4 lost.
yeah, he lost 3 in a row, but they were 9-3 at that point. It looked like they were running away with the East, and all of a sudden they lose to Seattle at home. No shame there, especially last year. Then my Cowboys went there and took it back out on them, and then they went to Washington, and remember that Saturday night game, and they stunk that up and blew it thanks to Mark Sanchez, and all of a sudden they fall to 9-6. They did win their last game, but they missed the playoffs. Mark Sanchez, ultimate accident waiting to happen. And I thought it was classic the other day. Remember, it's 2nd and goal from the Miami 9. They're down 1 point, 20-19, and 4 minutes left, 4.5 minutes left in the game. You're thinking the momentum is on Sanchez's side. He's going to take him in. You know what happens. He threw it a little high, little behind, whatever it was. I don't know. He overthrew Miles Austin, and Rashad Jones picks it off and goes the other way with it. And it ended the game effectively for Philly, and it cost them a game that I just gave them. I conceded they were going to beat Miami at home, and I would think they would beat Jameis and company at home. But I'm not sure about that because all of a sudden Tampa's starting to get it going here, starting to feel pretty good about themselves. At Detroit, we saw what Detroit just did at Green Bay. I'm just saying, in this league, weird stuff happens. The roller coaster
Any given
rolls.
Sunday,
All of a sudden somebody figures it out, gets hot. And are you sure Mark Sanchez, he's not going to win at the Patriots, I don't think. I don't think he can beat the Bills or Arizona. Maybe Washington. Can he win the last game at the your Giants? I don't think so. So I don't know. I'll give you that he gives them a little better chance, but he's still Mark Sanchez. In the end, he'll make great throws and he'll make head scratchers. That's what he is.
Well, I think you're looking at the fact that you're looking at Mark Sanchez as a starting quarterback. To me, the question evolved around, should he be the guy because Sam Bradford is your option? See, that's two different scenarios. Now, if you're telling me you're starting a season, you're a coach, you got your pick of the litter, could you pick Mark Sanchez? Nobody's saying that. My proclamation is that Mark Sanchez at this juncture is a better option than Sam Bradford. And that's what this comes down to. Sam Bradford, based on what you've seen, as things intensify, he seems to whittle. That's what I look at with Sam Bradford. Mark Sanchez, the accident waiting to happen that he's consistent with his inconsistency. Big moments he may mess up. Other big moments he may show up and shock you and produce.
He's capable.
Sam Bradford just seems to be a guy that attrition over the course of a particular game can get to him.
I agree.
And I don't think that that's somebody that you want the final 7 games of a season. He's great for the first half of the season, but as stuff intensifies and playoff berths are on the line, it becomes more of a man's game than ever at that point. And that's not the guy I want in there.
This week will certainly be an interesting test and very telling. We move on to the association. On the same day the Rockets fire Kevin McHale, Houston comes away with a big overtime win over Portland. So will Harden and the crew be just fine without McHale? Find out next.